Hello, folks. So, in this video, I wanted to talk about how I noticed an interesting thing just now. So, I'm actually walking around because I ate a lot in lunch. So, when I was walking around, so the area I'm walking around has a lot of trees. So, you can actually see how the trees are pretty tall and have a lot of branches and all that. Right. So, I noticed someone actually trying to actually throw something, right? Throw a rope around a branch of a tree. And then when the rope came on the other side, so basically they wanted to, let's say, if you want to pull the branch or you want to just hang something on the branch. So he basically threw the rope to actually just go over the branch and come down. So he was on the ground and the branch was pretty high, so he threw the rope and it came on the other side. I noticed that it was not just the rope, it had a ball. So I was just wondering, why is there a ball? And then I realized basically that, just a moment, I basically realized that he had actually used the ball to throw the you know the thread. It was a very thin thread, green color, doesn't matter if what color, but it was a very thin and lightweight thread, and it was like a proper thread. It was not like some wire, but it was a thread. So a woolen thread, I think, I'm not sure. So he used the thread. It was a very long thread, by the way. So he used the thread to actually, tie the thread to the ball. It was a small ball. It was actually a ball that you use for playing. Say I think it was a rubber ball. So kids use rubber balls to play cricket and stuff. So it was not cock ball that is used in professional cricket matches and all. So basically it was a rubber ball, and he had actually tied the rope around the rubber ball in so if this was the ball, he had done both the horizontal and vertical axis. So he had wrapped the rope around the ball on both horizontal and vertical axis, and tied it up. And then he threw the ball. Basically, he didn't throw just the thread. He threw the ball so that, because a ball can fly pretty high, but a very thin, lightweight thread, you can't throw it very high. But a ball, you can throw it very high. Not very heavy ball, probably a bit lightweight, something that can fly a lot. So he threw the ball and it went over the branch. Since the thread was tied to the ball ensured that the thin lightweight thread, was actually going over the branch and coming down. And then he released the rope little by little to ensure that the ball actually comes down to the ground level. And then I noticed that, why would he do this? Is he trying to pull the branch? I mean, for that the thread has to be pretty strong, or else the thread will actually tear, right? So actually I realized, I was checking out where the thread started, because I noticed that the start of the thread was still above. Actually, it was not in the ground level. So I realized that the thread is coming from another branch, and I was noticing, where did the thread start though? So it was not the other branches, just below the other branch. Instead, the thread was actually tied to a wire, some electric wire of sorts, which is usually used to, say, transmit or transition, transmission. It is used for transmission of data or current. And in this case, I think it was transmitting some data, probably, for example, for phone wires, telephone wires, or basically for telephone or internet, right? So fiber optic versus say copper wire, right? So it can be these maybe. I guess it was a copper wire. I'm not sure though. So the thread was actually tied to the copper wire, and the copper wire started, or like some wire which had an insulation, of course, and the wire actually started from the ground level. And this person had a lot of wire. They had other people standing there, and they had a big coil of wire that they wanted to use to actually, they wanted the wire to actually go over the branches, because I'm guessing they didn't have any poles, and this was across a road, right? So one side of the road, it was a road which didn't have any divider or such, but anyways, on one side of the road they had one tree with some branches. On the other side of the road they had another tree with branches, and at this place both the trees were kind of opposite to each other, and they pulled the wire from one side. So they used this, I'm guessing they used the thread to actually take the wire to the top and pull it, right? And then try to bring it around the branches of the trees which are opposite to each other and pretty close, or pretty much in a straight, kind of in a line, so that they can actually take the wire from one side to the other side over the branches, right? So over the branches of the two trees. So this way they can actually ensure that the wire is going over the air, or not over the air, over the branches, and basically high level, and not really need a pole of sorts where two poles connect with each other and are close to each other, and from one pole to another pole you pull it. If you don't have a pole, in this case they have a tree, so they pulled it from the tree, like over a tree, so that the wire travels in the air very high at the tree level, the branch of the tree level, and not on the ground, right? So they usually do this for phone wires, or telephone wires, internet wires, or for stuff like, say, you have dish connections, so for such stuff, and probably even for electrical wires, I think you can do this. So it was an interesting idea, so I just wanted to record that and talk about it, how a ball was used as a way to actually take a thin woolen thread from the ground level to a high level, and how the thread was used to actually pull another wire which was heavier than that, which was a bit heavier than that, and pull the wire over this. Pull the wire, and all to actually put a wire at a high level from the ground over two trees, like over two branches of two trees. So it was pretty interesting. I have never seen this before, so I had never thought about this before, but looks like this is pretty interesting. The other ways would be, I have noticed what people do is they take a coil of the wire and throw the coil itself from one side to another side. I've noticed this for throwing the wire to get a wire from one terrace or the top of the building to the top of another building which is a bit far away. So this was done for my internet wire, for the wiring of my internet. So they threw a coil of wire which was actually a big coil, and which you can throw around, and they threw it pretty high, and they had some part of the wire on their side and they were holding it, and the coil was open, so if you threw it, it'll open up and go to the other side also, so it'll almost like stretch and connect the top of one building to the top of another building. And if you have another person standing on the other side of on the other building, and of course you have to have two people, assuming they need to catch it, but if they don't need to catch it, then you can just have one person on one end. There's no need to have another person on the other end, the other building, because assuming you reached the top directly, but if you to ensure that it reaches the top of the building and also stays there, it's better to have a person there so that they can hold it once it reaches there, or else it will fall down because of the weight of the wire. This is assuming that it's in a good, not too long distance or not too short, because too long distance for the two buildings will be too much. So too short, pretty easy, but a bit longer. So yeah. Um, so yeah, pretty interesting idea about how you can actually transport something in the air by using some heavy thing, uh, like a ball in the case that I mentioned, or just throw a full coil of it, which is also heavy, full coil of wire, and throw it and let the coil, the what do you say, the coil take care of unwinding, and also preferably not unwind and just go to the other side of the building, right? I think this coil, it can unwind, for which case you can actually ensure that you have unwinded enough so that it can go to the other building, and then just tie it up so that it doesn't have to unwind more, and then you can throw it. So pretty interesting about how you can take a wire from one end to another end, all when it is very higher from the ground level, where in between there is no path, so it's all air, and a human has to do this, right? In the case of a branch and all, you have to climb up the branch and do things. When I said they put this over the two branches, they didn't even have to climb up the branch or the tree. So they just used a ball to actually put it higher from ground level to the from ground level to a higher level, and then like higher up, and then from higher up to another higher up, again used a ball, I guess. I believe that's when I noticed it, and then brought it down also again using a ball. Of course, like that was the basically getting it on the other side of the other branch of the other tree. So yeah, interesting stuff. So that's all I had for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.